Hi, second grade. We are doing the last of the 5 mystery science activities for this unit. You will need your mystery science journal, something to write with, and then you'll need that Ziploc baggie that has note cards and some paper clips in it. We're going to watch a few videos first to talk about the activity and get us prepared to do the activity, and then I will go over what your plan is for STEAM today, what you're going to be building. So I'm going to screen share with you and we're going to get started watching the video.
Hi, it's Doug. Have you ever seen a building while it was still being built? If you ever have the chance, stop and look at one. There's something fascinating about it. It's like getting to see a building's skeleton. Now, buildings don't really have a skeleton, at least not like you or I do, but there's something similar. You can see what materials are holding the building together. Like, check out this skyscraper here. We don't often think about what a skyscraper is made of, but this material here is concrete, the same stuff that driveways are made of. And this material is steel, a type of metal. Or check out this house. Its skeleton is made of wood and bricks. Building materials like these, wood, bricks, steel, and concrete, they all share an important property which makes them so useful for building. They're strong. But that's not all. There are also easy materials to build with, because you can combine many small pieces of them and make a bigger structure. Now, it's tempting to think that all buildings must be made out of these materials. And lots of buildings are, for sure. But people have come up with some pretty strange and surprising ideas of other materials to build with. Check out this house. It's called Casa de Botellas, or House of Bottles. It's located in the country of Argentina. Instead of bricks, this house is made from plastic soda bottles. They're stacked up and held together by cement. If you go inside the house, you'll find that even the furniture is made from bottles. Here's another house made of something unusual. Do you recognize this material? It's a house made of Lego pieces, millions of plastic Lego bricks. Even inside, everything is made from these tiny plastic bricks. Walls, chairs, beds. The House of Bottles and the Lego house show a couple of creative ways that small pieces can be combined to make something new. Can you think of any other materials you could use to build a house?
Okay, be creative. Put your thinking cap on for a minute, press pause on the video. What other materials could you use to build a house? So maybe you haven't seen many other materials around our town, but you could think of other countries or other places or other climates where they might build their houses differently than we do here. Maybe talk with an adult or a sibling or somebody you know and see if you can come up with some other materials that you could use to build a house, and then press play.
I don't know what ideas you came up with, but there are lots of possibilities. Besides materials like concrete and steel, people have made houses out of all kinds of other materials, like this structure, made of straw, a type of dried grass. Or this one, made of dried mud. Here's a house made of snow and ice. And here's a tent, a simple house made of fabric. But now here's a material you probably wouldn't ever think of building a house with. Paper. Paper is great for drawing, but for building? When we think about the properties of paper, it doesn't seem like a great material for building a house out of. Unlike, say, this piece of wood, paper doesn't have the property of being stiff. In fact, it's just the opposite. Paper has the property of being flexible. It's easy to bend and fold. And unlike concrete, paper isn't known for being strong. You'd have a hard time making hard, solid blocks of paper. Again, just the opposite. If anything, paper's known for being easy to crumple. Now, that said, paper does have the property that it can be stacked. But it's not like bricks, which are easy to build things out of. To make a wall out of bricks, you need to lay many rows of them. To make a wall out of paper, you need to stack tons and tons of paper sheets. So it seems like paper doesn't have the right properties for building. But could you somehow change the properties of paper to make it better for building with? Like, take a look at this. It's what's known as origami, paper that's been folded to make a certain shape. This paper bird stands up on its own rather than flopping over. Likewise, the wings of a paper airplane stay stiff and flat when you fly it. Do these examples give you any ideas about how you might change the properties of paper to make it better to build with?
Okay, you're going to stop and discuss how could you change the properties of paper to make it better to build with? What would you do? Press play when you're ready.
In today's activity, you're going to build a tall tower from nothing but note cards and paper clips. Then you'll take that tower apart and build a strong tower, strong enough to hold up a book. You'll start with 20 cards, which may seem like a lot, but if you just stack them like bricks, you won't get much of a tower. So you're going to have to think and experiment to come up with a way to make a lot of floppy, flimsy note cards become one big tower. I'll show you how to get started, step by step. Go ahead and get these supplies. You'll get your worksheet later. When you're done with this step, press the arrow on the right.
Okay, so you should get your Ziploc bag. Your Ziploc bag already has 20 note cards and 16 paper clips. You'll want to work on, it says a flat space, so maybe a table or a desk. I would not suggest a carpet. You could work on the floor, but not on carpet because I don't think it'll hold it as well. It looks like if you have them scissors, if you have it, a ruler. If not, you're ready to go. Okay, press play when you've got your materials.
Here's something to get you thinking. If you try to stand a card on its edge, it falls down. So see if you can figure out at least 3 ways to make cards stand up on their own. You can bend them, you can fold them, you can cut the cards. You can use paper clips too, if that's helpful. Use your imagination. There's no wrong way to do this.
Okay, you're gonna pause the video and you're gonna figure out 3 ways to make your cards stand up. I would only use 3 cards, maybe 2 cards, if you can just figure out a way to do it so you don't waste them. Remember, when you cut a paper or a note card, when you cut the paper, you can't get your note card back. So make sure if you're making a cut that you're okay with using this note card, okay? Because you're not going to be able to put it back together. You can't tape it back together. It won't have the same properties. Press play when you're ready.
Find a partner and discuss.
Okay, we're going to skip this part. You can go talk to your parents if you want, or maybe an older sibling, but we don't have partners, so we're just going to keep on moving on.
Here's a picture showing some ideas we came up with. Discuss.
Okay, so you've got a picture of a lot of great ideas here. Some I didn't think of on my own. Do you have any ideas for how you can use your cards to make a tower? So have you thought of any way to make the tower out of your note cards yet? And do you think some of the standing cards will be better for tower building than others? So when you're looking at this picture or you're looking at the cards that you created, are there some that are going to be better for building than others? So if you need to take a moment and press pause on the video to look at these ideas, do that. If not, I'm just going to go to the next slide.
Okay, your first challenge. See if you can build a tower as tall as a ruler. Now, this might be trickier than it sounds. So don't forget, you can use paper clips, and you can always get help from your partner too. You don't need to spend too long on this. I'll set a timer for 5 minutes in case that's helpful.
Okay, so the timer's going. When the 5 minutes is up, we're gonna move on to the next slide. 12 inches is 1 foot. So, it's probably about the size. See if you can make it the size of a piece of paper. Okay, like one of your journals. When the time is up, I will come back and we will move forward. Okay, you have about 2 minutes left to work on this part.
When you're ready, you can go to the next slide.
Okay, if you need more time, press pause. If you're ready, I'm gonna move on.
Sometimes it's useful to see what ideas other people came up with. Stay where you are, but look around at other people's towers. Do you see any ideas that might make your tall tower better? Discuss with your partner, and then take a minute to try out some new ideas. These pictures on screen show some of the ideas we came up with here at Mystery Science.
Okay, you have a minute. The timer's going to see if you can make your tower better. Are there some changes you can make? Or are you ready to go to the next slide?
Okay, it's been a minute. You might need a little more time, and that's okay. But if you're ready, go to the next step.
Go ahead and pause the video, and then when you're ready, you're going to press play.
In a few moments, I'm going to give you a new tower challenge. But first, get this worksheet and discuss these questions. Then, fill in questions 1 and 2 on your worksheet.
Okay, I'm looking at questions 1 and 2. You're on your last page in your Mystery Science Journal, Material Magic. It's labeled Paper Towers, just like this one, and it looks just like this. And the top number, good grief, the top question, number 1, says, you used note cards to make pieces to build a tall tower. What did your pieces look like? You can circle our pictures, draw your own pictures, or describe your pieces in words. So if you used some of the pictures that they show on the sheet, I want you to circle them. If you folded or cut your cards differently, there's space up here on top to draw your own cards, how you made them. Or it says you could describe your pieces in words if that would be easier. That would be much, much harder for me. I'd rather just draw a quick sketch, but that's an option too. Then number 2 says, could you use the same pieces to build a tall tower and a strong tower? So let me say that again. Could you use the same pieces to build a tall tower and a strong tower? How? So I think what that's asking is if you got your tower to build, right? If you got it to build all the way to that 1 foot, that 12 inches. It's tall, but can it hold a book, right? Is it strong enough to hold something without crushing or falling apart? If it's not, or if you couldn't get it to build, what could you do differently? Okay. Is it tall but not strong? Press the video or press pause on the video if you need to take a break, or if you need some more time, press play when you're ready. I'm going to go to the next screen.
All right, here's your new challenge. You built a tall tower, but now can you build a strong tower? Using the same materials, try to build a tower that's at least 6 inches tall and can hold up the weight of a hardcover book. You can take your tall tower apart and start over, or if you think of a way to make your first tower work where you just change it, that's okay too.
Okay, so I'm actually going to have you pause the video this time, and you're going to build a tower that's 6 inches tall. Now that's probably like the size of your foot, like the length of your foot. And it can also hold a book. So it has to be both this time. It has to be that tall and hold a book. Press play when you're ready to move on to the next screen.
If you haven't already tested your tower, put a hardcover book on top. Is it strong enough to hold it?
Press pause, go try it out if you haven't. If you're ready, press play and we're moving on. Or not press play, just keep moving on.
Think about how real buildings are built. Discuss. Then fill in questions number 3 and 4 on your worksheet. Afterwards, don't forget to watch the final video.
Okay, we're looking at number 3 and 4 for the last half of your worksheet. And number 3 says, is making towers with cards different from building real buildings? Might be a conversation that you want to have with parents. So how was it different? It talked about the different materials that you could use. They talked about mud and straw and bricks and Legos and plastic bottles. How are those items or those materials different than the paper note cards and the paper clips? Oh, here they are. The paper clips that you used today. Okay. You could just say, part of it is they're different materials. You could talk about their structure. You could talk about how hard it was to put it together, about the size, the shape, how it looks. Okay, it can be anything. And then number 4 says, is making towers with cards similar to building real buildings? So how is it the same? How is the paper and the paper clips the same as the other materials they talked about at the beginning of the video? So question 3, how is it different? Question 4, how is it the same? Press play when you're ready to watch the next portion.
In the activity, you built a tall tower and you built a strong tower. And you did it using the same note cards, the same pieces of paper. In real life, builders do the same thing. Using a building material like these wooden boards, they can create all kinds of different buildings. Buildings like cabins, windmills, wooden roller coasters, churches. What about paper though? Does anyone use paper to build things in real life? The answer might surprise you. As you saw, even though paper seems like it's really flimsy, you can actually change its properties. You can fold paper so that it doesn't bend, or you can roll it to make strong columns. Maybe you learned that you could cut it so that you could have a wide base to keep it from tipping over. There are some situations where paper is actually a pretty good choice for a material to build with. Check out these houses. They include some wood, but they're mostly made of cardboard, which is a type of paper. Here's a view as one of these was being built. You see the cardboard tubes there? This house was built for someone after an earthquake destroyed their first house. They lived here for a little while until they could build a bigger house again. Paper and cardboard are pretty cheap, so this was a great solution. If you take a piece of cardboard and you look at the edge, you can see something that makes cardboard a good material to build with. Notice how it isn't just one flat layer. It's 2 flat pieces with this zigzagging layer in between. The zigzags make the paper much stiffer and stronger. Just like the folded cards in your tower, paper gets stiffer and stronger when it's folded. Now, cardboard itself is a really fun material for building things with. People have used cardboard to make chairs, desks, and check this out. People have used cardboard to even make a car. A cardboard car is really unusual and probably not that useful, but there are a lot of sturdy, everyday things that are made from paper too. Boxes and packing materials, they're often made from paper. Tissue boxes, made from paper. Egg cartons are made from paper, and think about it. They keep something as fragile as an egg from breaking. Keep an eye out. I'll bet you'll find even more interesting things in your life that are made of paper. Have fun and stay curious.
Okay, that's it for today. I'm so glad that you got to be with us, and that was really fun. Some different activities that we haven't done before. So if you want to keep your note cards, you want to try to make something else, that would be great. Please make sure to take a picture of your tower. Even if it doesn't hold the book, can you take a picture of it and send it to us? Because these are things that are going to be probably hard for you to keep over the weekend and be able to share with us when we come back next week. So I will see you next week. Goodbye.